During the second year of overseeing the branch office abroad, the doctor suddenly informed me that my daughter had developed depression. My once radiant and vivacious daughter had become withdrawn and reticent, the slightest noise leaving her startled. Meanwhile, Zhang, the nephew we'd taken in as a foster child, basked in constant sunshine, his classmates addressing him as young Master Shun with every breath. Later I discovered my daughter was actually being bullied by Zhang daily. When I furiously confronted my wife about this, she unexpectedly defended Zhang. Boys are just more active. Can't you stop making a fuss over nothing? You should tell Xin Yuan that even girls shouldn't be so overly sensitive. Hello, is this Xin Yuan's father? This is City Central Hospital. Xin Yuan was admitted for hypoglycemia, but we've noticed self-harm tendencies. Initial assessment suggests she may have mild depression. Ever since the company went public, I hadn't returned home for 2 full years due to branch expansion work. After finally stabilizing the branch company and preparing to return home to surprise my wife and daughter, I unexpectedly received a call from City Central Hospital as soon as I got off the plane. Hearing that my daughter had self-harmed, I rushed to the hospital in a panic. My daughter lay on the hospital bed with vacant eyes staring at the bedside, faint scars visible on her wrists beneath the patient gown. The moment she saw me appear, a glimmer of light instantly returned to her dull gaze. She threw herself into my arms, voice choked with sobs. "Daddy, you came back? I missed you so much." Seeing her like this felt like a heavy hammer striking my heart. Holding my daughter, my eyes filled with concern. "Sweetie, tell Daddy why you hurt yourself? Who bullied you these 2 years I was away?" At my questions, my daughter's eyes flickered uncertainly, her arms around me loosening slightly. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "No, Dad, no one bullied me. The pressure from studying was too much." My daughter's evasive expression, clearly hiding something, made my anxiety surge despite not knowing the source of the problem. Remembering my wife had been caring for our daughter these past 2 years, I immediately dialed her number. Unexpectedly, my daughter instinctively grabbed my arm. "Dad, I'm really fine. Don't call Mom." This uncharacteristic behavior deepened my suspicions. On my wife's end, the phone kept ringing unanswered. Only after multiple attempts did she finally pick up. Her voice sounded breathless. "Darling, what's wrong? I'm discussing a business deal outside. Let's talk tonight if it's not urgent." The reproach about her childcare these 2 years died in my throat. Then Zhang Ji's voice faintly came through the line. "Mommy, I want to I'd the roller coaster again." The moment I heard Zhang Ji's voice, I noticed our daughter tremble slightly. At the same time, I furrowed my brows. Zhang Ji is the nephew of my wife and me. Because my brother-in-law's family was struggling financially, my wife brought Zhang Ji to live with us 2 years ago to give him a better living and educational environment. I had originally hoped that our daughter and Zhang Ji could keep each other company, but now it seemed things had gone off track. If my wife was taking Zhang Ji to the amusement park with her brother and sister-in-law, why did she lie to me? And why didn't she bring our daughter along? As doubts piled up in my mind, I instinctively replied, "The downtown hospital just called. They said Nan fainted from hypoglycemia. I wanted to check with you." Hearing about our daughter's collapse, my wife hesitated briefly before answering breezily. "Nan's getting obsessed with looking pretty these days. She keeps talking about losing weight. It's not serious, don't worry. Honey, I'm still busy here. Let's talk later." After my wife hurriedly hung up the phone, a sense of unease rose in my heart. I patted my daughter's head. Nan, don't you really want to tell Dad? Whatever's bothering you, Dad will definitely help you solve it." My daughter held my hand and buried her face in my chest. "Daddy, can you promise not to leave this time? Could you and Mommy stay with me forever?" Looking at my daughter's adoring eyes, I detected an unusual undertone in her words. I hugged my daughter tightly. "Okay, Daddy promises not to leave. But Nan must promise me one thing. Don't tell anyone Daddy's back yet, okay?" When she got my promise, my daughter's eyes immediately lit up, and she eagerly agreed to my request. My daughter was discharged from the hospital that same day. The next morning when she went to school, I deliberately disguised myself and followed her. When I saw her walking several kilometers from the villa area to school on foot, a wave of unexplained anger surged through me. Since childhood, I have treasured my daughter like a precious jewel, arranging chauffeurs for all her travels. Yet after merely 2 years of my absence, she's already been reduced to walking to school on foot. I clearly remember the chauffeur's salary wasn't reduced in our annual expenses. Just as I wondered where our family chauffeur had gone, an extended version of our business car parked near the school. That vehicle was precisely the one I'd previously assigned to my daughter. But this time, it was Zhang Ji who stepped out of it. As soon as Zhang Ji alighted, a group of classmates swarmed around him. My daughter instinctively ducked aside, yet still found her path blocked by a male classmate. "Xin Yuan, why are you running? What's wrong? Now that you've seen the S.H.N. family's legitimate heir, does this illegitimate daughter finally feel ashamed?" Same surname Shun, yet such different fates. Young Master Shin posted yesterday about going to Disneyland with his parents. A bastard like you probably doesn't even know what Disneyland is, huh? The daughter hung her head low, not daring to resist in the slightest, as if this scene had replayed many times before. Zhang Ji lifted his chin haughtily and waved a dismissive hand. Enough. Don't waste words on such lowlifes. These gutter rats aren't even fit to shine my shoes, let alone visit Disneyland. The classmates burst into raucous laughter to suck up to Zhang Ji. One even took off their shoe and hurled it at her face. Bastard girl, come shine these shoes. Do it well, and maybe young Master Shen will grace you with a car ride to school someday. Seeing this, I could no longer hold back. I grabbed and hoisted the shoe-throwing boy into the air, eyes blazing with fury. Who gave you the right to bully my daughter? You like shining shoes? I'll make you shine shoes for the rest of your life. The boy dangled midair, face turned ashen with terror. Young Master Shun, save me. Order your bodyguards to kill him. When my daughter saw me appear, her previously numb face instantly lit up with radiance. Yet Zhang Ji, who had just been wearing an arrogant expression, was immediately dumbfounded. He looked at me in panic, even stammering as he spoke. You uncle? How? How did you come back to the country? Just as I was about to unleash my anger on Zhang Ji, the driver suddenly blocked his path. It was then I noticed the driver I had originally assigned to my daughter had been replaced. This driver, surnamed Zhang, glared at me gruffly. Mr. Shun, these are just kids' pranks. Must you escalate things so severely? Boys will be boisterous. They were just playing with the young miss. Even if you hadn't intervened, I would never have let them harm her. Hearing driver Zhang's words, the fire in my heart burned hotter. To call bullying playfulness, isn't this a complete inversion of black and white? I stared at the driver shielding Zhang Ji, then pointed at the commercial vehicle. This car was assigned to Nan Nan for her transportation. Instead of picking her up, you're driving this kid around. Hearing my accusation, driver Zhang showed no fear. Mr. Shun, you've wronged me. It was the young miss herself who said she disliked riding in cars and insisted on walking to school. What could I do? Zhang Ji nodded vigorously, then looked at my daughter. Cousin, tell your uncle quickly. Isn't what driver uncle said true? If you're too scared, we can go ask your aunt. When Zhang Ji mentioned her mother, my daughter grabbed my sleeve desperately. No, Daddy, it was me. I volunteered to walk to school. It has nothing to do with brother Zhang Ji or Uncle Zhang. But seeing how utterly exhausted my daughter looked, how could I possibly believe this was voluntary? A chill ran down my spine. What exactly had happened to the Shun family during my 2-year absence? What's the relationship between this Zhang Ji and driver Zhang anyway? That night, when I asked about Master Zhang's background, my wife's expression became slightly uneasy. What background? The previous driver just couldn't work anymore, so I found a new one. Honey, don't overthink it. But the previous driver was clearly only in his 40s. How could he suddenly become unable to work? Looking at the people at the dining table with their different thoughts, I felt like I was sinking into a thick fog. After discovering that Zhang Ji pretended to be the eldest young master of the Shin family, my wife proactively apologized during dinner. I was afraid the students at the elite school would look down on Zhang Ji, so I had him do it. If you don't like it, we can stop. Nan Nan is our daughter after all. I'll pay more attention to her from now on. I'll go to her homeroom teacher tomorrow. No one can bully my daughter. Hearing this, the faint sorrow in my daughter's pupils finally showed a trace of a smile. Looking at my daughter's rare good mood, though I had no appetite, I could only nod. However, the next day when I returned home early from work, Auntie Lu, the housemaid in the villa, flusteredly blocked my path. Auntie Lu, Mr. Shun, why are you back so early? It's not even off work time yet. I glanced at her suspiciously, then started walking toward my daughter's room. Nothing urgent at the company. I came back early to spend time with Nanny. Seeing my movement, Auntie Lu suddenly grabbed me and raised her voice. Mr. Shun, the young lady went straight to her room when she returned. She might be doing homework. Better not disturb her. Just as I found this strange, a burst of crying came from my daughter's room. Sensing something wrong, I pushed Auntie Lu aside and rushed in immediately. There I saw Zhang Ji holding scissors in one hand and gripping my daughter's hair in the other. My daughter's originally lustrous black hair was now unevenly hacked. There was even a bald patch cut into her forehead. Seeing this scene, I roared and pushed Zhang Ji away, pulling my daughter into my arms with trembling hands. What are you doing? When he saw me, guilt flashed in Zhang Ji's eyes. But soon he put on an aggrieved expression. Uncle, I was helping my sister cut her hair. Her hair was too long and got criticized by the teacher at school. She asked me to cut it as soon as she came back, but I don't know how. He then curled his lip. Little sis, say something. You were the one who insisted I cut it. Why aren't you explaining now that Uncle's back? If you won't admit it, let's go find Aunt. I tenderly wiped the tears from my daughter's face. Nan Nan, tell me yourself. Daddy believes you. After sobbing for a long moment, my daughter forced a weak smile. Brother is right. It was me who asked him to cut it. I cried because I couldn't bear to continue halfway through. It has nothing to do with brother. Just as I was about to continue questioning, Zhang Ji spoke again. Cousin, maybe I should take you to the barber shop instead. Otherwise, Auntie will be upset when she sees this. Zhang Ji reached out towards my daughter as he spoke. My daughter reluctantly extended her hand. Zhang Ji waved at me brightly. Uncle, we'll be back soon. Watching the two disappearing figures and recalling Aunt Lu's obvious attempts to stop me earlier, the more I thought about it, the more something felt off. I remembered my wife saying Aunt Lu was Master Zhang's wife. They were both efficient workers, so we hired them together. But their strange behavior made it impossible not to suspect whether they had some secret connection with Zhang Ji. As I pondered this repeatedly, my attention was drawn to the smart robot assistant on my daughter's desk. This robot assistant has a real-time recording function. I bought it back then to serve as a surveillance device. Thinking of this, I immediately removed the USB drive from the robot. However, when I saw the footage inside, my heart instantly plunged into an icy abyss. You little bitch. How dare you scheme against me? Do you know how classmates are secretly mocking me at school? Feeling smug, are you? Think your dad's return gives you protection? Let me tell you, nice try. In the video, Zhang Ji's face was contorted with ferocity as he mercilessly yanked his daughter's hair. The girl trapped beneath him cried helplessly. I didn't. It hurts. Stop hitting me. I'll never dare again. I won't tell anyone. Please stop hitting me. Facing the girl's pleas, Zhang Ji showed no mercy. He picked up nearby scissors and said viciously, Since you've made me lose face, don't expect to get off easy either. When you become a baldy, classmates will only laugh at you. With a few crisp snips, my daughter's long hair fell to the ground. As Zhang Ji wielded the scissors, he continued his threats. If you dare tell Uncle, I'll tell Auntie. Auntie loves me most. When they start fighting and get divorced, you'll become a motherless child. Only then did I suddenly realize why my daughter had repeatedly hidden the bullying from me. She had been terrified all along that her mother and I would divorce because of this, leaving her without both parents. Seeing my daughter's location appear in a remote alley on the tracking app, a tremendous dread instantly filled my heart. Before even entering the alley, I heard the jeering voices of several hoodlums. G, Brother G, aren't you scared playing this rough? What if the brat tells her dad? Zhang Ji sneered coldly. Strip her clothes off. After we take the photos, let's see if she dares snitch. Amidst the burst of jeering laughter from the gang members, my daughter's terrified screams pierced through the air. My vision blurred crimson as I charged over, just in time to see the thugs tearing off my daughter's clothes. She thrashed desperately, her body collapsing into the filthy, garbage-filled puddle. Clutching her clothes with trembling hands, she kept pleading through broken sobs. Yet those animals showed no shred of mercy in their actions. Caught off guard by my sudden arrival, the gang members scattered in panic. Over a dozen bodyguards materialized, blocking all escape routes. With icy rage, I kicked Zhang Ji to the ground and rained relentless blows on his face. It was my daughter, still crying, who grabbed my arm to stop my frenzied assault. Dad, please stop. You'll kill him. I can't lose you too. Seeing her choose self-sacrifice despite such profound trauma, rage and heartbreak sent my body trembling uncontrollably. Zhang Ji, beaten bloody by me, still sneered defiantly. You dare hit me? I'll tell Auntie. I stamped my foot on his face. Not even the Jade Emperor could save you now. After sending these scoundrels to the police station, my wife Zhang Chong and her elder brother Zhang Dongli rushed over. Seeing her, Zhang Ji clutched his battered face and threw himself forward. Dad, Aunt, Uncle beat me. He beat me. Zhang Chong's eyes filled with pain at the sight of Zhang Ji's battered face. She snapped at me furiously. Shenhui, have you lost your mind? Look what you've done to Zhang Ji. Zhang Dongli shoved me hard, murder flashing in his eyes. Shenhui, don't think your CEO title makes you untouchable. If you dare bully my son, you'll pay. I grabbed his wrist, and with the strength from years of consistent fitness training, I immediately made a look of pain spread across his face. Through gritted teeth, I spoke each word deliberately. The same goes for you. If anyone dares to harm my daughter, I won't let them off either. As we stood in confrontation, my assistant rushed over with a recording. Mr. Shun, we found security cameras near the alley. Here's footage from that time. When Zhang Ji and those gang members' acts of violence reappeared on screen, the police officers' faces grew increasingly grim. A female officer even pulled my daughter into a protective embrace. Zhang Ji, never expecting that remote alley had cameras, trembled and begged Zhang Chong. And Zhang, the idea was those thugs from the start. I just acted impulsively. Quick, explain to the police. I don't want to go to jail. Zhang Dongli immediately erupted upon hearing this. Did you hear that? My son just acted on momentary impulsiveness. He's still a child. We parents will discipline him if he makes mistakes. There's no need to take this to the police station. I almost laughed in bitter anger upon hearing this. Yet what truly surprised me was Zhang Qian actually joining and persuading me. Exactly, honey. These are just children's jokes. Why take them so seriously? Zhang Ji is a boy. He's bound to be a bit restless. Besides, Zhang Ji is the sole heir to carry on the Zhang family line. How could we let him go to jail? Hubby, stop making a scene. I stared at Zhang Qian in disbelief, never imagining she could utter something so outrageous. My daughter's eyes dimmed instantly. Clasping my daughter's hand, I fixed Zhang Qian with a determined gaze. Nan is my daughter. You think you can bully her? Over my dead body. Zhang Qian, if you dare interfere, we're getting divorced. The mention of divorce instantly made Zhang Qian wither on the spot. Even the previously arrogant Zhang Dongli suddenly fell silent. Under my persistence, Zhang Ji was detained for half a month by public security authorities for picking quarrels and provoking trouble. After leaving the police station, I asked my daughter, Nian, when Dad said he wanted to divorce Mom earlier, don't overthink it. Both Mom and Dad love. Mom doesn't love me. My daughter shook her head with choked sobs. I thought Mom would like me if I stayed sensible, but now I know she doesn't. No matter what I do, Mom doesn't love me. I don't want to endure any more, Dad. After sending my daughter back, my assistant stopped me. Mr. Shun, the matter you asked me to investigate earlier is now resolved. These are their files. Having previously noticed something amiss with Chef Zhang and Auntie Lu in our household, I had tasked my assistant with conducting an in-depth investigation. However, when I saw those two files, I was stunned. Chef Zhang's real name is Zhang Dongli, exactly identical to my brother-in-law's name. Even their native place was exactly the same. But there's absolutely no way such coincidences could exist in this world. Remembering the phone call I made to Zhang Chong when my daughter was hospitalized, I immediately had my assistant check who Zhang Ji went to Disneyland with that day. Yet the assistant told me that only Zhang Chong and Zhang Dongli took Zhang Ji to Disneyland that day. Recalling Zhang Ji's cry of "Mommy," a chill crept up from the soles of my feet. With everything still unclear, I had no choice but to start by confronting Master Zhang and Aunt Lu directly. Since I insisted on sending Zhang Ji to Juvenile Detention Center, Zhang Chong had moved into the company office in protest, expressing her dissatisfaction. Ironically, this worked to my advantage. Seeing me detain them like criminals under interrogation, Master Zhang protested indignantly. Director Shun, what's the meaning of this? We've worked FAI fully in the Shun household for 2 years. Even as our employer, you can't interrogate us like thieves. Aunt Lu immediately chimed in. Exactly. If Madame Shin finds out about this, she will surely demand justice for us. I fixed them with a cold gaze as they pinned their hopes on Zhang Chong, then waved my hand. The assistant immediately produced bank statement records and previous investigation reports. My voice carried an icy tone, carrying an air of authority without anger. Master Zhang, by rights shouldn't I be calling you brother-in-law? At my words, Master Zhang and Aunt Lu exchanged terrified glances, clearly not expecting me to have uncovered their true identities. They tried to play dumb, but I cut them off bluntly. Don't even think about denying it. I have plenty of evidence here. Beyond exposing your hidden identities, I'm mainly here today to collect debts. Embezzling over 2 million from the Shin family in 2 years? Your appetites are quite substantial. 2 million, Master Zhang exclaimed. When did I ever embezzle 2 million? Shin Hui, don't you dare make baseless accusations. With a sharp slap, I threw the bank statements before them. The records here are crystal clear. 2 million yuan from Shun Group was transferred into Zhang Dongli's bank account. What room do you have left for denial? 2 million yuan, enough to land you over a decade in prison. At the mention of prison, both Master Zhang and Aunt Lu paled. Zhang Dongli desperately grabbed my pant leg, urgency lacing his voice. Not me. I never embezzled 2 million. It was Song Chao. He opened the account using my credentials. My eyes narrowed at the unfamiliar name. Song Chao? Zhang Dongli. If you truthfully disclose everything you know, I guarantee not only immunity from prison, but an extra 2 million for you. Though Zhang Chong is your biological sister, what I offer will far exceed her reach. The world hustles for profit. The world bustles for gain. Blood ties crumble before self-interest. True enough, after my pledge, Zhang Dongli promptly unraveled the entire decade-long fraud scheme. It turns out that Zhang Ji's father wasn't named Zhang Dongli at all, but Song Chao. All of this was a Truman Show meticulously crafted for me by Zhang Chong. Before meeting me, Zhang Chong had Zhang Ji with Song Chao out of wedlock. To achieve immediate social ascension, they deliberately had Zhang Chong seduce me and successfully marry into the Shin family. After entering the Shin family, to legitimately support Song Chao and Zhang Ji, she had Song Chao assume the identity of her biological brother Zhang Dongli. They then brought Zhang Ji into the Shin family under the guise of being a nephew. Hearing this, my heart throbbed with anger. I waved my hand, and my assistant immediately tossed a box of cash in front of them. Take the money. You will not breathe a word about today's events, understood? As they gazed at the cash, greed flooded Zhang Dongli and Aunt Lu's eyes. Both swore fervent oaths to keep silent. Watching their mercenary demeanor, I exchanged a subtle glance with my assistant. After learning the truth, I told my daughter everything without holding back. Now, my daughter, who had previously been wholeheartedly determined to live together as a family of three, firmly gripped my hand. Daddy, Mom lied to us. We don't want her anymore either. Half a month passed quickly. Perhaps having learned a harsh lesson, Zhang Ji became more subdued after returning from juvenile detention. Seeing Song Chao returning to the villa with Zhang Ji, I couldn't help but frown slightly. However, Zhang Chong preemptively said, "Husband, you've already taught Zhang Ji a lesson. During his half-month in juvenile detention, his father and I were worried sick every day. Now that Zhang Ji is back, please let my brother stay at home for a few days too. I know you were angry last time, but if you keep holding on to this grudge, it will break my heart too." As for why Song Chao insisted on staying in the villa, my assistant had previously discovered that Song Chao had actually been living in a manor under my name all along. Ever since I found out that he was trying to usurp the nest behind my back, I had my assistant send people to take over the estate. Now that Song Chao had nowhere to go, he set his sights on my house again. When she heard Song Chao was moving in, my daughter's hand trembled as she ate. From my observations during this time, it seemed my daughter was more fearful of Song Chao than she had been of Zhang Ji. But I still hadn't figured out the reason. To prevent my daughter from living in fear, I wanted to refuse outright. But to my surprise, my daughter stood up and took Song Chao's luggage. "Mom, don't be angry. Uncle can stay as long as he wants." Seeing my daughter's submissive and obedient demeanor, Zhang Chong's eyes filled with satisfaction. I might have imagined it, but I thought I saw a fleeting glimmer of desire in Song Chao's eyes when he looked at my daughter. After saying goodnight to my daughter that evening, she asked me softly with a faint smile, "Dad, can you come home early tomorrow? I don't want to stay in the same house with Uncle for too long." Knowing that my daughter disliked Song Chao, I softly agreed. "All right, Papa will come home as soon as I finish work tomorrow." Perhaps because she specifically emphasized yesterday wanting me home early, the closer it got to leaving work, the more restless I became. This uneasiness persisted until I arrived home. But the moment I pushed open the villa's front door, preparing to call towards my daughter's bedroom on the SEC. On floor, I saw my disheveled daughter, like a broken doll, plummet straight down from her bedroom window. "Sweetie." My eyes nearly burst from their sockets as I rushed forward and caught my daughter covered in abrasions. Seeing me, my daughter forced a strained smile. "Daddy, there won't be any bad people at home anymore." In panic, I sent my unconscious daughter to the hospital. Fortunately, the second floor wasn't high, and my daughter had no serious injuries. Yet a female doctor privately told me, "Mr. Shun, although the little girl wasn't harmed this time, it's best if you report this to the police." The words of the female doctor finally drew my attention to the torn clothes my daughter was wearing when she jumped from the building. Today being Friday, my daughter left school earlier than usual, while Zhang Ji, as a third-year junior high student, stayed much later. This meant that at this time, apart from my daughter, there was only Song Chao in the house. An absurd conjecture surfaced in my mind. The mere thought that Song Chao might have been involved in molesting my daughter made my fingertips dig into my palms hard enough to draw blood. When I reported to the police without hesitation, facing officers' questioning, Song Chao shouted with an expression of utter injustice, "You're insane. Xin Yuan is my biological niece. How could I possibly do such things to my own niece? Xin Hui, I know you don't want me living in your house, but do you have to go this far? Xin Yuan is just a child. Teaching her such despicable tricks. Are you even her real father?" Upon hearing about our daughter's ordeal, Zhang Chong rushed over in haste. The anxiety in her eyes didn't seem feigned, but upon hearing my suspicion that it was Song Chao who tried to molest our daughter, she immediately defended him. "Xin Hui, stop talking nonsense. This matter has absolutely nothing to do with my brother. Officers, my husband is just overly concerned and speaking recklessly. Don't listen to his nonsense." My pent-up anger erupted at this moment. I hurled all the evidence I'd gathered these days directly at Zhang Chong's face. "Zhang Chong, what the fuck are you still pretending for? Having affairs, raising this bastard, and even daring to cover up your lover hurting my daughter. Have you fucking forgotten after living with me so long that everything you have now depends on me?" Seeing the evidence scattered across the floor, Zhang Chong's face instantly paled. "This, husband, I can explain. I didn't mean to deceive you. I truly love you. That's why I had to do this. I cut off contact with Song Chao long ago. I just couldn't bear to leave Zhang Ji alone, so I brought him to my side. Song Chao and I are just childhood sweethearts now. Honey, believe me." Looking at Zhang Chong, who dared utter these shameless words, I shook off her reaching hand. "Zhang Chong, do you think I'd still believe you? Let me tell you, it's over between us. After I deal with Song Chao, you're next." Song Chao, whose true identity had been exposed, now buried his head like an ostrich. Hearing my insistence on suing him, he finally became agitated. Shenhui, where's your evidence that I attempted to assault Shen Yuan? No evidence means it's false accusation. Appearing convinced I possessed no proof, Song Chao still stubbornly faced me. Yet the next moment, a hoarse voice emerged from the hospital bed behind me. I have evidence. Officer, there's a robot in my room containing evidence of the bad man hurting me. The police, upon hearing this, indeed retrieved the surveillance video from the robot in my daughter's room. In the footage, Song Chao took advantage of the empty house and brazenly forced his way into her room. Shen Wei dared to get my son sent to juvenile detention. Today, I'll make sure to teach you a lesson. You escaped last time, but let's see where you'll run now. As he spoke, Song Chao lunged at my daughter with a twisted expression. Piece by piece, her clothes were torn off. Watching the video, my heart felt as though it were being sliced apart. Just as Song Chao was about to succeed, my daughter shoved him away with fierce determination and leapt from the windowsill. From that moment, Song Chao's crime of assaulting my daughter was irrefutably confirmed. Zhang Chong watched the video in disbelief, then screamed and lunged at Song Chao, clawing and hitting him. How dare you have such vile intentions toward Nan Nan? She's my daughter. How could you? You beast. A damned beast. Unexpectedly leaving behind evidence, Song Chao immediately collapsed to the ground. As police officers pressed him to the floor, Song Chao desperately pleaded with his niece. Shen Yuan, Uncle was wrong. Please show mercy. I'll truly reform from now on. I'll never treat you like that again. Yet this time, even if his niece could forgive him, national law wouldn't let him off easily. Watching Song Chao being dragged away, the lingering sorrow in the girl's eyes finally began to disperse. Under police interrogation, Song Chao confessed to multiple attempted assaults on my daughter over the past 2 years. Ultimately convicted of indecent assault charges, Song Chao received an 11-year prison sentence. After learning Song Chao's fate, I asked my daughter, "Weren't you afraid I might return too late?" My daughter's eyes sparkled as she gazed at me. "No fear. Because Daddy never breaks promises. You've always been Nan Nan's safety deity." So Nan Nan wanted to conquer fear too, to protect Daddy. On the day my daughter was discharged from the hospital, Zhang Chong came to me again. She fell to her knees at the hospital room doorway, begging me with teary eyes. "Shun. Hui, Song Chao is already in prison. There's no third person between us anymore. Let's put this behind us and start over, okay? Nanan has finally recovered. Do you really want her to grow up without a mother? What will people say about a child from a broken family?" Looking down at Zhang Chong, my disgust was palpable. "Now you remember Nanan? When she was being bullied before, did you protect her even once as her mother?" "Zhang Chong, our marriage was built on lies from the beginning. It's time to end this now." Seeing my determination to divorce, Zhang Chong bit her lip. "Shenhui, must you make this so ugly? Don't forget, divorcing me means you'll have to split half of your assets with me. Are you absolutely sure about this?" Seeing that the warm and tender approach wasn't working, Zhang Chong resorted to threatening me. I snorted coldly. "Split assets? Keep dreaming, Zhang Chong. Do you really think I didn't make any preparations after learning about your dirty secrets?" As my words fell, a group of police officers escorted a man and a woman in front of Zhang Chong. Seeing Zhang Chong, Zhang Dongli shouted for her to save him. Zhang Chong looked puzzled. "Shenhui, what's the meaning of this?" The lead police officer spoke bluntly when Zhang Chong still didn't comprehend. "In response to Shen Corporation's report, you 3 are suspected of embezzlement and transferring Shen Corporation's assets. We're placing you under arrest according to law." Hearing this, guilt instantly flashed through Zhang Chong's eyes. Zhang Dongli and Aunt Lu shouted in disbelief. "We never embezzled Shen Corporation's money. That money was given by Zhang Chong to Song Chao. It has nothing to do with us." The police officer directly produced bank account records when they denied involvement. "You said the money from the Shun Group wasn't embezzled by you. Then how do you explain the sudden 2 million yuan in your account?" Zhang Dongli pointed at me. "It was Shun Hui who gave it to me. He gave it to me." I glanced at him mockingly. "You were just my family's driver and housekeeper. Why would I give you 2 million yuan? Aunt Lu screamed that the money was used by me to bribe them. But when the police asked for evidence, they fell silent. In stark contrast to their lack of evidence, the previous 2 million yuan embezzlement case I'd uncovered where Zhang Chong transferred Shun Group's funds into Zhang Dongli's account now became irrefutable proof. Though we all knew those 2 million ultimately ended up in Song Chao's pockets. Song Chao would never admit it to avoid harsher sentencing. As long as he denied it and I insisted it was the Zhang couple who embezzled, the police wouldn't believe Zhang Dongli no matter how much he protested. That's exactly why I was willing to give this couple 2 million in cash for no apparent reason in the first place. From that moment on, this couple had already stepped into my trap. Those who bullied my daughter, there's not a single one I intend to let off. Watching silver handcuffs click onto her wrists, Zhang Chong shrieks hysterically at me. Shenhui, you can't do this to me. There were 100 days of grace for 1 day of marriage. You can't send me to prison. Nan, please persuade your dad. I know I was wrong. I'll kneel for you, kowtow to you. Please spare me. I beg you. But faced with her mother's pleas, my daughter takes my hand, her voice soft yet resolute. Dad, let's go. Ultimately sentenced to 9 years of fixed-term imprisonment for grand embezzlement were Zhang Chong and Zhang Dongli. As for Zhang Ji, with both parents imprisoned, he had to drop out of school. Later, desperate for survival without financial means, he resorted to theft. During one burglary attempt, discovered by the homeowner, he fled in panic straight into traffic. An oncoming cargo truck struck him dead on the spot. Hearing her fate, tears streamed down my daughter's face. But as she cried, she slowly began to laugh. From that moment, the lingering gloom in her eyes completely melted away. For my daughter's physical and mental well-being, I ultimately chose to immigrate with her to the country where the subsidiary company is located. As the plane's wings sliced through the